I'm announcing myself this morning. I'm back again. Welcome, everyone, to the SDG Media Zone. I'm Claire Bauman, Senior Editor at the United Nations Foundation, and we are a proud partner of the Department of Public Information, the President of the General Assembly's Office, and Public Foundation for hosting us here today and bringing everyone together around today's theme of youth and how youth can get involved with the Sustainable Development Goals. And I'm pleased to be sitting next to my colleague here, Isabella Gultesa, who hails from Barcelona. I'm working on my pronunciation with my Spanish accent. Americans butcher everything. And we're going to talk today about Generation Amazing, which is an incredible youth program that is looking to lift up youth all over the world in support of the Sustainable Development Goals. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here today. I'm going to have to practice my English accent, actually, so apologies if I don't do it in the best way, but I'll try my best. So yeah,
No, well, this is going to be a fun panel. Hopefully you can both understand us. Everyone can understand us despite accents. And we do have people tuning in live with hashtag SDG Media Zone, or excuse me, SDG Live. We're at the SDG Media Zone. And you can also use hashtag UNGA to follow the conversation in real time. And we actually have people tuning in from all over the world through UN Web TV, which is really exciting. So we're actually reaching youth all over the world today. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about Generation Amazing. What's it about, and what are you trying to do with it?
Okay. So Generation Amazing is the World Cup 2022 in Qatar Football for Development program. We launched the program in 2010, back when Qatar was trying to win the bid for the World Cup. And we started empowering youth from Nepal, Pakistan, Lebanon, and Syria at that time. We identified youth that could become talented and leaders in their communities, and we provided them with football pitches and places to play and spaces, safest places for them. There was a promise at that time that if Qatar was going to be in the lead, the program will last at least until 2022, if no longer. And today, we have Generation Amazing really well established in those countries. We have also programs in Jordan, reaching refugees, Palestinian, most of them, and now Syrian refugees as well. And we do have the program as well in Qatar. Then what we do with Generation Amazing is we do three things mainly. We identify youth that we think can become leaders and talented, so we try to empower and enhance communities. We build football pitches, and we try them to become sustainable. So what we try is also that the community gets completely involved, so that the pitch, once we go out of those countries, are generating revenues inside the communities, and we even create employment in the same spaces. And then basically the program has three streams, let's say. We call them Inclusive Generation, which is the one that is trying to tackle most of the sustainable goals here, but poverty, gender equality, inclusivity, there's a lot of things. Then some other programs that we deliver more in Qatar are Healthy Generation, promoting healthy lifestyles, and Green Generation, which is promoting sustainable behaviors.
Incredible. That's an incredible reach, an incredible list of programs. Can you tell me a little bit more how the program's reaching an individual sustainable development goal? It sounds like you're covering many of them, but is there one in particular that you're passionate about that the program is working on?
Yeah. Actually, the Supreme Committee itself, like the organization, tackles many different sustainable goals, most of them related to building the infrastructure of the World Cup. So what we're doing is building a stadium and so on. We have to make sure that we cope with all the sustainable goals in terms of environmental sustainability. But the program itself, it's covering most of them, I would say, gender equality. That's the one we really focus on. All our programs are completely focused on having 50% of our participants are male and 50% are female. Then, and I'll go back to this one with one case example maybe. Then another one that we're tackling is health and well-being. And quality education. So our programs are focused on football for development, as I was mentioning before. What we do is we deliver football sessions, but not teaching them football skills, but through the game of football, we teach them about social and life skills. So education is one of the key things that we do. We take the kids out of the school, in school programs, but we take them out of the classroom, and through football we teach them many other things that without sport maybe it would be difficult for them to understand, such as how to become more inclusive, how to communicate better, how to win more self-esteem, how to be more inclusive and accept others, and so on.
It's incredible. I actually love the point on gender equality, that this is a strong female panel that we've got up here. So already starting to tackle those things. But sport really has such an amazing way of lifting up youth and bringing them together. And it's interesting to hear how it can help with communication skills, self-esteem. I mean, there's so many beneficial benefits to working and using sport in engaging youth and empowering youth. So it sounds like Generation Amazing is a really incredible and vital program in helping to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and making sure that youth have a voice around the world, which is wonderful. So what's next? What can we expect to see happening with Generation Amazing?
That's a good question. There's a lot next. Actually, when we started in 2010, the intention was we're going to have the program, but we didn't know yet how we were going to have that program. We spent like 1 year in 2015 building a strategy, and we have identified 13 to 15 countries in which Generation Amazing should be from now until 2022. We are now in 5, and the list of countries that we have in our list is basically countries where the workforce population is coming from. So for those that you don't know, Qatar is quite a small country, but with 2.6 million population, and only 300,000 more or less of them are locals. So the biggest population, for example, is Indians. There's 545,000 people from India living in Qatar. Then what we try to achieve with this program is we are going to the countries where the workers are coming from. So this is our first priority. Why? Because we want to give them something back. So we believe that the way they are helping Qatar to build the country to be able to host a World Cup in 2022 deserves that we go back to their communities and to their families and to build them football places and bring them sports and quality education programs. Then among this list is Bangladesh and Nepal and Pakistan and other Iraq and Iran and many other different countries. Then we also have the program locally, as I said, and we do deliver the program for workers in Qatar as well. So we have implemented football for development activities with the workers that are living there. And then there's other 2 big objectives, I could say, related, some of them with the UN goals. Basically, we have a big vision of achieving 1 million beneficiaries from now until 2022, which is a lot. So a lot of youth. Right now, we have 30,000 direct beneficiaries so far. And the intention is to reach this 1 million. So I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I have to do it. And then we have actually 2 things in our mind. We would like, from now until 2022, this is the first World Cup, by the way, that has been working for so far and for so long, trying to bring a football for development or a sports program that can transform lives. So we believe in the power of a sport. We believe that a sport can reach things and change lives such as no other thing can do in the world, basically. And there's a UN cluster. In the UN cluster, there's a lot of things. We talk about health, we talk about shelters, we talk about food, we talk about water sanitation. Where is the sport in the picture? Sport is not in the picture of humanitarian cluster. It's been trying to be there, but it's not recognized as one of the first things because it's actually not a primary need. But we do believe that through sport, there's so many things that all these humanitarian agencies could be achieving that, that we would like to make sport have a spot in that picture from now until 2022. For example, is there a way that we can go to the refugee camps and while the humanitarian organizations are working there, make them achieve their goals through implementing sport activities, through kicking a ball? There's a lot of post-trauma situations in which boys and girls maybe have been affected because of a disaster or a conflict, or if you just give them a ball and let them kick, there's a lot of ways they are going to release their stress, their traumas, and so on. So we want to position sports there. And we want, from now until 2022, to reach this big number of beneficiaries.
That's incredible. And I'd also like to welcome to the stage our youth observer, Munira. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I think we'll have to share a mic. Maybe we can pass along. Well, one, it's been incredible to hear the initiatives that you're working on to empower youth through sport. I am hopelessly unathletic, but I can support from afar, hopefully. And Munira, I'd love to hear, so we've been talking about programs that can support youth, but as a representative in the United States for youth and the United Nations, what are your thoughts on this week at UN General Assembly, how you felt? Is there any feedback that you have for the audience as a youth representative?
Yeah, of course. First and foremost, thank you for having me. I think being here as a youth representative, of course, has been a big honor, right, to represent the voices of American youth. But for me, I would have liked to see more young representatives that were at the decision-making tables. Looking around, oftentimes, when we're talking about the very issues that affect young people don't actually have a seat at the table. And even if they have a seat at the table, it's oftentimes as tokens. I remember I was attending an event last night, and I was one of two young people at the event, and they were like, we want to get more young people involved in health and health issues and achieving that sustainable development goal. But I was like, it should just be a normal reality that young people are there and not just, maybe we need one or two. So I think it's really about having meaningful engagement with young people. I would have liked to see more of that.
That's incredible, and it sounds like with Q22 and Generation Amazing that you're actually looking to help support youth so that they have a seat at the table and they have strong voices and they feel empowered to get involved and to make these sustainable development goals their own, because they're the generation and you're the generation. I think I'm out as a millennial. We're done. Gen Z is next. That you're the Gen Zs of the world are the ones that are going to carry forth the sustainable development goals from 2030. So it's really exciting. So just tuning back to you in General Assembly, is there a specific goal that you think that youth play a vital role in?
I think there's two. One is education. I think, we need young people at the table, but oftentimes the criticism that's wielded is that young people don't have the expertise, so invest in us. And there are millions of children, I think over 260 million young people who are currently out of school. That's a group of young people whose potential is being lost, whose potential is not being tapped into. So I think education is one of the biggest fronts that we need young people involved in, and we need the investment in young people. And then the second would be gender equity. I think no country can move forward with half of its people behind, and I think specifically making sure that young women have the platform to talk about the daily struggles that they face and the challenges of young women across the globe.
I'm going to just call out again that we are a panel of all women, which really makes me so happy. And to be sitting up here with two really incredible women with really strong voices who are making change in the world. And Isabella was just mentioning how Generation Amazing is actually looking to support gender equality. I don't know if you have any more thoughts on gender equality and the work that you're trying to do and what Munira is mentioning.
Not more thoughts, really. What we try to do with the program is to make sure that we include as many female as we can. Being in the Middle East as well is a place where football, it's difficult practice for a lot of female, and we have case examples of our programs of girls that we engage with them when they are 14 years old. So, for example, in 2014, with the context of the World Cup in Brazil, we selected 22 youth to be identified as leaders, to become leaders in their communities. Then we took them to a nice experience. They were eligible after a very tough process of applying to become Generation Amazing ambassadors, and they were chosen to come with us to Brazil, and then we show them many different things about a World Cup. They were engaged in a 2-year football for development program afterwards in their communities. And there's a case, for example, of Muna. She's a Jordanian girl. She's from a refugee Palestinian camp in Jordan. And she wanted to play football, but she didn't have a space to play football. There was no sport facility close that she could play safely. And her family didn't want her even to participate in that. So she came to Generation Amazing. She started being engaged. And now, 2.5 years after the pitch, we have built a closed space in her refugee camp that it was meant to be addressed for female. And at the beginning, only the boys of the camp would go. But now the space is really frequented more by females than by males. She runs her own football team, and she has actually had the opportunity to know celebrities such as Xavi Hernandez, football player, and she's really empowered in talking about the power of sports. So this took her from actually becoming married, which was the goal that their parents wanted her to become when she was 14 already.
That's amazing. And I see you smiling and nodding. One, it must have been like sport getting through security, which is why I saw at the
100%.
corner saw you running through.
Yeah.
So you're already warmed up to go play soccer today. I think we have to close in just a minute, but I would love to close and hear if you have a call to action for all the youth out there that are tuning in on social media and on UN Web TV. What can they do to make these goals their own? What can they do to make our world a better place and to make sure we achieve them by 2030?
I think one is to never underestimate the power of your own voice. I think me sitting here today and joining you guys just stands as a testament to the importance of hearing young people's voices. So don't underestimate yourself. And then the second would be you have to almost be an imaginative leader in the sense that you have to imagine the world that you want. The reality is that the world that we were living in was someone's wildest dreams a couple of years ago. So if those roles for young people don't exist, create them. Be bold in what you do.
Be bold and create them. I love that. Thank you so much. I feel so inspired after this panel. We've got more to come, a great day ahead of us. We have Rocky Duwani, who's going to come, who's from Ghana, play music for us live here in the tent today. We have several activists from the Kenneth Cole campaign that are going to talk about what they're doing for women and gender, girls in South Sudan, so they receive an education, supporting the environment. So it's really going to be spectacular. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you.